My name is Jake Blue. I've lived on the road full-time for over 4 years, going to all 50 states in America. And today, I'm going to give you a tour of my van. My van is a 2018 Ram ProMaster 1500 built out by Wayfarer Vans. I got this van about 15 months ago with 32,000 miles on it for somewhere around $32,000. Right now, it has about 74,000 miles on it, and it is significantly more money put into it, but it's a dream to be able to have a van like this and come to places like this, so it is well worth the investment. I love it. One thing I gotta say as I'm walking down getting ready to show you the inside of my van is that I did a lot of research for this video. Okay, I did so much searching on YouTube for the most beautiful vans on the internet, and there's some really beautiful vans on the internet. I don't know how people do it. Maybe it's just a woman's touch, like every woman is born with impeccable interior designer skills. I don't know, but my van is very lived in. Okay, and I spent some $65,000 getting this all built out. So I'm going to show you the inside of this, and if there are some female van lifers out there who know what I'm doing wrong, help me, because I tried cleaning all this morning and it does not look as good as some of these crazy vans on YouTube. Let's get started. This is my van, and the sun's coming out. It's getting super beautiful outside. I'll show you outside in just a moment, but to start, I'm just going to focus on the build and show you exactly what I've got in here. Okay, here we are, lit by my cool little fluorescent light bulbs that I've got up here. I started living on the road back in 2021 in the middle of the COVID pandemic. I lived out of a car for 2.5 years before I bought this van back in late 2023. Lived out of it in just the shell, without any of this, without a bed. I didn't own a bed for over 4 years. Then at the beginning of this year, about 3 months ago, I ended up finally getting my van built for $28,000 from Wayfarer Vans. Altogether, plus like the $35,000 initial purchase of the van, plus the $28,000, it ends up being somewhere between like a $60,000 and $65,000 investment. Is pretty reasonable for what I have here. There are some people that will show you online, they're like, yeah, I built this beautiful van that looks better than any apartment you've ever been in for like $22.17. And I've seen that. And it's crazy what some people are capable of. I paid a professional company to help me build this out, though, because I wanted it done right the first time before, so I just couldn't mess anything up, is the big thing. I wanted it to be really good because I spent so much money on the initial van. I saved up for so long. I wanted it done right. So this is going to be that tour of Wayfarer Vans. You can check out their link in the description. I love working with them. I'm actually going to be hosting trips with them in the near future, so you can check out their link if you want. Let's get started on what's inside the van, though. Moving from front to back, this is the front of the van, everything normal stock, just like it would normally come. I've got sunglasses, I've got little gadgets in here, a lighter, little tools, a knife, keys, a tennis ball to roll out my sore muscles way down here tucked away. So this is all very normal, but when you move right here, you can see the first little upgrade that Wayfarer added for me. One of the things that really sucked when I first lived in the car was that I would get woken up by people that would just walk by my windows and they'd look in and be like, hey, what's up? This guy's dead. And then I get the cops called on me. It was a whole thing. It was really hard living in a car. No one likes you when you live in a car, so it's brutal. So having these, just having the privacy of being able to roll these down, is a massive benefit. Now at 10 a.m. in the morning, I'm isolated, I'm sheltered, everything is okay. I don't have to worry about anyone bothering me, and it feels safer, which is a really big thing for living in the van. So the first curtain shades, really awesome. Moving back right here, I've got a lot of things. This is my first year living in my van, so I feel like there's a lot of things that are going to change about this. I don't know where to store things right now. I'm having a lot of trouble just figuring out where everything goes. However, just having the storage is a huge benefit. So I have this cooler. I'm just upgrading. I want to become Campfire King this year. So right now, I don't have a whole lot of cooking stuff because I don't have a propane burner yet. I have everything else, but just for right now, I have a lot of freeze-dried meals in here. And at the very bottom, I have like my favorite drink that I've ever had. a bunch of these core powers that I just drink probably like one every other day, something like that, just to get the protein in and keep building muscle while I'm out here on the road, because it is very easy to get lazy when you live in a van if you don't have some good hobbies. So you got to be exercising and getting outside. Right next to the cooler, this is one of those things I don't really know where it goes yet. This is just my dirty clothes laundry bag. So I've just been tucking it over here in the corner. I put my dirty clothes in there and I go wash those whenever I go in. Now for the exciting part though. One of the things I was most excited about when I got my van build was having this center island that I can bend down and show you a little better right now. This thing has been a huge upgrade on how long I can stay off grid, because I have 5 gallons of water right here that I can use to go out into the wilderness for 5, 6, 7 days. I've got storage, I've got utensils, little spoons, forks, way back here. I've got a bowl, I've got like campfire cooking equipment, like a little pot that I can use to boil water. All this stuff is making a huge upgrade to just my comfort on the road. I don't have to stay next to gas stations all the time to be able to go get water and get Wi-Fi at the coffee shops. I can just literally go, and it's a huge freedom. Now I'll take you over here to the sink. So the first thing that we can do is we can pull off the cover for the sink right here. I really like this detail because this thing is like a really good little campfire cutting board. I can use it to cut meats, or whenever I pull something off the fire, it's just a space saver, so I don't have to carry around a really big cutting board with me. I can even use the back just so I don't scratch up the top and make it look not that bad. I can just use the back here, and that helps me a lot. So moving over to the sink right here, I have this great sink. This has been a huge upgrade because now I have water wherever I go off grid. And this is a hand pump sink that I really love. So you just push this up and down, and I don't have to worry about any electricity. I don't have to worry about any maintenance. And it's very, very simple to keep this in check. So I'll show you underneath in just a second. But first, I want to point out one of my favorite details for the van is this little whale symbol. So a little fun fact about vans: a lot of the pieces borrowed in Wayfarer and minivan building companies are from the yacht industry or from the cruise ship industry, because when ships are going up and over these huge waves, they need to be able to bend and flex and be durable when they're being moved around. Vans are the same thing. As we're going over bumps on the road, as you're going like the vibrations, things like that, these pieces need to be able to hold together, and that's why a lot of these little things have the whale symbol on them, because they are all borrowed from the yacht industry. Really, really cool little detail. Down below, we have all these little cupboards and things. I have the first two here. This one is where I keep my cast iron pan. Pull that out and show you real quick. I keep the cast iron pan, little campfire, gloves, a bunch of dishcloths, and that's very simple. And this next one is just some more storage. Right now I have some antifreeze in there. I have one of my old laptops that I broke because I forgot to put it down when I started driving, and it flew off and shattered on the ground right here. Don't know what to do with it yet. Now, the third is the most exciting one that you guys are going to probably learn the most from. This is the water jugs. So there are 2 water jugs in here that I'll pull out and show you. This first one is the gray water tank. So whatever drains from the sink, all that water I was just pumping out goes directly into this gray water tank. So any food scraps, anything like that, this all goes in here so it's not infecting your drinking water. Little tip, it's really nice to have like some bleach or maybe like some white vinegar might kind of help as well. If you just put in the bottom of this, so if you're washing a lot of dishes and a lot of food scraps, it doesn't start to stink, then you just empty this thing every other day or so. Right now, I haven't been cooking that much. I've been eating cold food, so this thing hardly ever fills up at all. I empty it once a week, and then I just empty it whenever I cook or whenever I'm washing any food down the drain. The second one back here is the clean water tank. Now I'm going to try to show you this because it's kind of cool. This thing has a pretty ingenious little hook system, or a little snap-on system. So this has a button right up here that I'm trying to show you. If you push in the button, this thing comes undone, and then you can pull the whole water tank out. All you got to do when you put it back in to make sure it works is you just come up here. It's going to be hard to do it with one hand, but you just come back up here, make sure that this snaps on. I'm not going to be able to do it. This thing snaps on and then you have water again. As you can see, I'm running kind of low. I like to fill up a lot of my water in like streams, wild places like high mountains of Montana, Colorado, Idaho, even Northern California has some places, and then you get some of the energy of the land in you, and I really, really like that. Now, that's how the water system works. I'm going to show you everything under the bed in just a moment. I got my power, my generator, a lot of little camping stuff, things like that. But first, let me show you this one of the biggest upgrades that I've had in my lifestyle, and that is this bed. Starting with, I've got this mattress. So this is an amazing little mattress under here. A little organic, I think it's bamboo. I think it's like shredded bamboo or something. And it's just an amazing mattress. It's a better mattress than I've ever had. But I've never slept this good. I lived in an apartment for years before I had a van, and this mattress has changed my life. Once again, you got to remember, I slept in a car for 2.5 years in fetal position, basically every night, just like hoping someone didn't wake me up. And there were some serious physical consequences to pay for this. Every night now, I can stretch all the way out. I'm 5'9" ish, 5'9.5", somewhere right in there, and I can stretch out, feet here, head here, and I sleep like soundly for the first time in 4 years, and it's been a huge dramatic boost to my health. Now, a lot of women aren't going to like me for this part. This is why mostly young women do van tours. Like the first 50 results on YouTube, there's no guys that do van tours. Just we get by with what works, all right? So these blankets have been with me since 2020. Or so. This is a new blanket. This is a 2-year-old blanket. The rest of these, like this red one, has kept me warm from the beginning. Now, I had some very cold nights when I was in the car, very cold nights, and I needed every blanket I could get. So I would curl up. I had one night in Big Sky, Montana in my car that was negative 11 degrees, and I don't know how I made it through, dressed in full winter clothing, buried under every blanket I owned, just still like jackhammering cold. I had another night when just before I was going to get my van built, when I was living in the shell. You guys can see that video. I'll tag it for you up top, where I was so cold that I woke up the next morning like my immune system was shot. I got a flu. I got bit by a dog the next day, and I just didn't have any immune system left. So I got shot down with the terrible blood infection that went up my arm, across my face, down my other arm to the back of my leg. I've never been that sick in my life, and it was like really scary for a while. The cold will mess you up. Having this bed and having all these blankets has totally dramatically changed my life because I'm never cold. This insulation in here, even when it's 20, 15 degrees at night, I just put on my sleeping bag right over here, and I'm good. I don't need a heater. I don't need any of it. It's just a huge, huge upgrade. Now for storage. I've got 4 cupboards up here, which are really, really amazing. First off, just because I have storage for the first time and I can fit stuff in each of these, that has just been, I feel like a real person. But second, each of these little designs on how these cupboards stay closed are super cool. So you have these little elastic pull off things. So you just pull down and ease those out, and then the cupboard opens. So then you have these little latches up here that hold the cupboard wherever it is. This is another thing that you get a lot from the yacht industry, just because it's hard to, you don't want these things flapping around all the time and jiggling as you're driving down the road. So these are really solid and they work so well for me. So things I've got in each of these cupboards. So a little bit of YouTube recording equipment, some like this is kind of the miscellaneous drawer. I've got like a tarp to lay down below my tent when I'm camping at night. I've got my brand new beautiful YouTube editing laptop, first Apple one I've ever had, which has been interesting to learn, to say the least. To the back over here, this has been a really fun thing because I have lighting now. I can read. So every morning I've been waking up, I've been going through and reading whatever book I'm reading. Right now I'm reading A Woman's Passion for Travel, just travel stories from all over the world. I have a lot of group tours that I host through my business, Wander Blue Adventure Co, through YouTube subscribers. So if you want to come, you can click the link in the description. So I do a lot of research on where to take people. And one of those things I'm doing right now is I'm reading through this, learning about all these fantastic places around the world, a lot of business books, and then at night I've been getting into the habit of just journaling my tomorrow's plan out, jotting down future goals, things like that in my journals. Having a library has been awesome. I've also got like a little atlas in here. A lot of travel research is basically what that comes down to. Next drawer I've got right here, next cupboard, this is my mountain biking drawer. So I'll show you my mountain bike on the back. One of the biggest upgrades that I got before my van build, the biggest upgrade I got before my van build, was having a mountain bike. So I've got little like sprays in here to keep the chain going good. I've got my fanny pack that I wear whenever I'm out. I've got a little survival pack. I've got a pump for my bike tires. I've got a water bottle that I take with me on the bikes. This has been some of the most fun I've ever had, is mountain biking Moab, Utah. I've got more videos about that I can tag up here somewhere. Having a mountain bike is incredible. I'll show you that in just a second. Finally, and I'm so excited about this cupboard has my pantry. And I have peanut butter and jelly stuff. I've got stuff for overnight oats. I've got like powdered coconut milk. This has been so awesome. Okay, when I lived in the car, I started, because I didn't have any food storage and I didn't want the car to smell, I just started eating out every single meal all the time as I went across all 50 states in America. And I was making enough money, so it was okay. But like, dude, I was spending somewhere close to $2,800 a month back in 2024 before my van build. Last month, I spent under $1,000 for just living expenses, so that my living expenses were cut in half because of this cupboard. Basically right here, I can go wherever I want. I save a ton of gas money, and I just eat because I buy food at the grocery store. I spend $150, and then I get to go, and it's a massive for me, for my lifestyle, for saving money. It's incredible. Now for the workstation. So a big thing for me is I work online on the road a lot. So one of the big selling points for me was getting this specific table design. So I'll bring you in a little bit closer and I'll show you how it works. So you just use these little knobs and you can tighten them down really tight so this doesn't swing out during driving, or you can come back over here and you can loosen it up. Then you can swing out this table. You got the rotating top on it, and I can sit down right here and I can work. So then I open this up, beautiful locations like right here in Northern California, and I'll pull out my laptop right here. So check it out. I just open up the laptop in the morning, I listen to the birds sing, and like right now I'm working on my taxes from last year. So I just open this up. And it's so fun. It's the coolest thing ever, man. This is the true van life lifestyle that everyone talks about, that everyone posts on Instagram about. I finally have it, and it's just because of little gadgets like having this table. I'm in comfort and I'm able to work and be proficient wherever I am for the first time. Before this, I was sitting on the floor just suffering, and then I had to go to a coffee shop every day. Now I'm good. Last thing I'm going to show you before we go outside and then check all the stuff out under the bed is this light switch. So you can see how this works real quick. If I just press this little black button, the lights go off. You press it again, they come back on. And one of the things I thought was just hilarious is that if you turn this knob, the lights dim and brighten. So you might not be able to see it that well on the camera, but they dim and brighten back up. So like Wayfarer's build comes with built-in mood lighting, which I was laughing about. I'm still laughing about like months later. I just think it's hilarious. Let's go outside. The wind is starting to pick up, so I'm going to try to be fast here. One of the first upgrades that I got for my van was this trailer hitch that you can see right back here. So this trailer hitch costs something like $300. I just went to. It was the U-Haul store up in New York. That's also another video I filmed that you could watch up here if you want. And it was the first real upgrade I got. It took 6 hours, something like that, and dramatically changed my life because it allowed me to put this mountain bike on the back of my van. And it has caused so much fun. It's allowed me to stay in shape when I don't have access to the gym. My legs are strong, my back is strong, all because of this machine, and it's really freaking fun. So let me open this up and I'll show you the rest of this. was saying, when I flip the bike rack down, I can open these back doors and you can get a back view of everything in the van. So just like you saw from the front, I've got the bed up here. I've got my sleeping bag. What you couldn't see before was my poorly organized mess that I have in the bottom. So this is one of the things I'm really trying hard to learn about as a van lifer. I don't know how to store all this stuff yet, so I'm accumulating stuff, and I've just kind of like put little bungee cords to keep this from sliding back and forth across the floor. But I'm going to show you everything that I got in here just so you understand. Remember, this is year one, actually technically just like month 3 in the van, my first year living in it. I'm going to organize this better as I go, and I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot. Right now, this is what I've got, and this is what is working sorta right now. First things first, and definitely the coolest part that I got down here, this is a Yeti 1500X lithium battery, and you can hopefully get a pretty good view of this thing right here. This is what charges my laptop. You can see it's at 100% charge right now. This is what allows me to power the entire van, and honestly, I have so much power, I don't even know what to do with it right now. This thing was expensive, okay? This was a big addition to the van, but you can see all the little things that work right here. So it's got outlets for like your laptop chargers. It's got outlets for like a car charger that I've been using to charge the camera that I'm filming with right now. It's got all these other little ports, USBs, stuff I don't even know what to do with. This thing is awesome, okay? And the best part is it charges directly from the car battery right up there. So when I'm driving, it takes like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours to fill from 0 to full. I never run out of charge though, okay? So I'm at, the lowest I've seen it go is like maybe 77%, something like that, because I'm just charging laptops and things. You could charge like all sorts of stuff. I'm gonna have a Starlink at some point, and doing the math approximately on the wattage, I think you could run a Starlink for like 11 hours straight on this thing without it going to the bottom. Then you just wake up in the morning, you drive somewhere else. You could even literally just start the engine and it charges fast. So this thing, freaking fantastic. I think it was like close to $3,500 though, something like this, just this little battery, you know. Worth it though. Now over here to the most unorganized part of my life. I'm going to use my jackets as a pillow here. This is my clothes. This is my clothes bag. I have all the clothes sort of rolled in here. The sweatshirts that I wear every day just kind of get piled back on top. I've got my shorts, everything like this. A van lifer's worst nightmare is when you get too much stuff, and having too much clothes is actually a problem for me. I don't know what to do with all of them. I have too much right now, so this is just where they live, is right here behind my little working station, and then I just pull it out over here to the floor in the morning, and I choose what I want to wear. That's going to improve eventually. Right now, this is what I got. Now from here back, I've got all my camping equipment. One of the things I really want to get good at this year, I said it earlier, I think, I want to be campfire king, all right? I want to be so good at cooking food for people around the campfire that everyone can't wait until they get to come travel with me again, come on my group trips with me again. So I've got a couple new little gadgets that I actually haven't quite tried out yet. They're brand new, like 3-4 days old. This is a little tripod grill. You can kind of see how it works right here. Little tripod grill that goes over the fire, boil water, cook in my cast iron pan. And I got this cool little fireside table where we put the s'more stuff on, things like that. So I'm really excited to try these out. I'll have them in an upcoming video. I'm probably going to start doing like a monthly fireside chat sort of video, and just tell a story and try to figure out recipes on how to cook over the fire. I'm super excited. It's just, you get arrested if you start a fire in the middle of the road somewhere on a little back street like I am right here. So I'm gonna have to get campgrounds and figure this stuff out. I'm super excited though. Next up, I've got my tent. Try not to break my head while I'm here. I've got my tent that I use 3-4 times a year. I just went out to the Channel Islands not that long ago to check off my last national park in the lower 48 states where I used this tent. Then I have my backpacking backpack that I used to hitchhike across America back in the day, but since then I'm kind of disappointed to say it hasn't gotten a ton of use since then. So I take it out every once in a while. I have some storage in here. I just put some random miscellaneous stuff in here, like a rain jacket, things like that. But it just kind of hangs out at the back. I've also got my winter clothes in here, my winter snow pants, my winter jacket. I want to use this more, and I'm going to figure out a way to do it more in the future, but that is my backpacking Arc'teryx backpack that hitchhiked all the way from Charleston, South Carolina, back to Sandpoint, Idaho in 2018. Didn't film a YouTube video on that, but that was an adventure. Last thing I've got is this little Tupperware, so if we open this up, I can show you what's in there. Snorkeling stuff. I travel quite a bit, so I've been to Florida. I just got back from Mexico earlier this year. I was in Maui, and I like to snorkel. I just saw whales for the first time, so that was awesome. And then I've got this super weird thing. So this reminds me of stuff that I gotta talk with you up front about. This is an oxygen tank, and the reason why I have an oxygen tank is because through my job I work with a lot of companies, and one of the company's bonuses gave me ozone therapy equipment. I don't want to spend a ton of time explaining this because it's really not related to van life, but you get bonuses when you work in cool stuff. Van lifers all have interesting work stories, so I'll grab the generator and just tell you about it a little bit. This is an ozone generator. You hook this thing right up here to the oxygen tank, and then this turns it into ozone gas, the same stuff that protects our atmosphere. It's a heavy oxidant, so you inject it into like your bloodstream, things like that, and it like boosts your body's immune system response like crazy. I don't have this filled up with oxygen yet, but this is just an example of the weird stuff you get while you're a van lifer. You don't just throw away an oxygen tank, right? So I've got this thing, and I would like to use this at one point, but it's a really inconvenient thing to carry in the van, so I'm still yet to decide what I want to do with it. It's just one of those things. There is one last thing I forgot to show you up front, so I'm just going to drag you over here real quick. Like I said, I'm trying to become campfire king, but I also just want to learn how to cook. So this was a present when I just visited my mom recently. It was a really generous present. This is a propane tank container, so it's a 1.2 gallon propane tank. I don't have a burner for it yet, so I still got to find a $150 burner, something like this, but this was like $130. You unzip the top, and it's this little mini propane tank that you can refill anywhere, so it's easy to carry in the van. It just goes right down here in the boot box, like where I sit. So you open this up, and I can just plop this guy in there. So it's also where my little ozone generator is. It's cool. Okay, so that does it for my rough overall van build. I still got more gadgets I could show you. Like I have chairs, I have little things. I don't feel like that's the important part. The important part is just showing you how this whole system works. And trying to be optimized in a van is like a never-ending game. So it's really fun, really challenging, but also like just being able to sleep is the best thing in the world. Okay, it's so wonderful. Now I'm gonna take you out here to this land of the lost, a little tiny road miles away from civilization that is in one of the coolest places I've ever been to. Let's go see that. Okay, I don't know how this is gonna go, but I did find some of the animals I wanted to show you. Now, right as I'm trying to sneak up on some animals, let me show you the place I'm at real quick. It's a little bit cloudy, a little bit foggy. This is Point Reyes National Seashore in Point Reyes Station, California, just north of San Francisco. I have a list of my 61 favorite towns that I've found after going to all 50 states in America over the last 4 or some years. This is still one of the top places. California weirds me out. I don't love it. The landscape here, like the river that comes into the bay that drains and fills, and then out here you've got some awesome animals. So let's go see how close we can get. They very much know I'm here already, so I think I'm sneaking and they're just looking at me like, what are you doing, bro? But I think I can zoom in on the camera and show you them real quick. I don't want to scare them. They're starting to stand up. Can you see them? These are Tool elk. So I I really don't want to disturb them, but right behind me are an animal called the Tule elk right now. It's a little windy too. I hope you can hear me. These are Tule elk, so T-U-L-E elk. They're just like Roosevelt elk that you find in Montana, except they tend to have a little bit lighter coat here. Despite the fact that they live on the beach, they're like less tan than Roosevelt elk, which is kind of funny. These are an elk that were pretty endangered. California got ravaged, especially like when the gold rush and things happened. The landscape just got destroyed, and people built all these places that came right up to the coast, so they didn't give the animals that lived on the coast any room to breathe. However, there's some places like right here at Point Reyes that were always just sort of untouched. So this is the Tule Elk Reserve in Point Reyes, and you have these magnificent animals. Look, there's a huge herd of them coming across right over here. Oh my gosh, can you, dude, just tons and tons of elk. That is amazing. So these are animals that most people, you don't get to see in most places of America, and they're here in Point Reyes. So really a pleasure to film the van tour video. My van's right up here. I'm gonna head back. I'm gonna go down to the beach today. But thank you so much for joining me for this. If you want to see my favorite places in America, you can join me on group trips, or if you just want to do it yourself, I have a free link in the description of my 61 favorite towns that I found after going to all 50 states in the country, from Alaska to Maine to Florida to Washington to California to freaking North Dakota. There is one really cool town in North Dakota. So that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. Stay wild and be free.